What's going on, everybody? In today's tutorial video, I'm going to show you how to create cinematic sequences like this. I'll be breaking down the camera settings so you can shoot the footage, and then we'll take it into the editing program so I can show you what you do after you shoot it to get that cinematic look. All right, let's jump into it. Okay guys, I have my Canon camera here and I'm going to show you the correct settings for shooting cinematic sequences. So let's go to menu. We're gonna go to right here to the movie record size. Right now it's at 1920 by 1080 at 24 frames per second. We're gonna click into it. And for this camera, this is a Canon Rebel T5i, it's my old camera. We're gonna go here, shooting at 1280 by 720, 60 frames per second. And the key here is the 60 frames per second. Now, when you're at this setting, you can shoot at a higher frame rate and you have more frames in each second of the video. So you can really slow it down later on after you shoot it. When you're in the editing process, you can slow it down and there are more frames to work with. So essentially think about it as 60 pictures every second. All right, and with this camera, it's cropped a little bit. So it's 1280 by 720. I'm gonna switch this camera and I'll show you the settings on my Sony a6500. All right guys, we have the Sony a6500 here and we are gonna go to menu. We're gonna go down here to record setting. Luckily with the Sony, we can shoot at 120 frames per second, which gives us a ton of potential for nice cinematic slow-mo. So record setting, there are two options. You can do 120 frames at 100 megabytes per second, which I have it set to, or at 60 megabytes per second. I'm gonna do the fullest quality that we can get and do 100 megabytes per second. Another big part of this is, and I should have mentioned with the Canon, is we want this shutter speed, if we're shooting in manual, we want the shutter speed to be set about double what the frame rate is. So we have it set to 1/250th right now, which is as close as we can get to double the frame rate of 120 frames per second. With the Canon, we will be shooting at 60, so we want that shutter speed to probably be around 1/125th. And you can play and deviate slightly from these shutter speeds, but you don't want to change them too much because then the footage will look all wonky and weird. You probably want to leave the shutter speed as is, and the frame rate will dictate what the shutter speed will be. It will be about double what the frame rate is. And then the settings that you will be able to change around is obviously the aperture and the ISO or ISO. All right, guys. So now we can go into Premiere Pro and I will show you what we can do with the footage. Let's take a look at creating cinematic sequences in Adobe Premiere Pro. We are in Premiere Pro 2018, so let's take a look here. Here's a little cinematic sequence. The first few shots are normal speed. We're gonna be really talking about the beginning at the third clip in this little sequence, but here we go. Here's a few clips, opening up the scene, and then we have my friend here. Here's where the cinematic sequence begins. She's fixing her hat, right? And then we got these smooth clips of her walking, riding, and then going into the bowl on her skateboard. All right, so let's look at these clips. Specifically, let's look at this one. Okay, so I will show you the properties of this clip. Okay, it was shot at 120 frames per second at 1920 by 1080. So, because we have 120 frames to work with, there are essentially 120 pictures in every second, which means when you slow it down, you get that smooth look. So, I will show you here, speed duration. I slowed it down to 40%. I like the way that looks. A lot of people say it's better to slow down to 20%, and because 20% is 1/5 of 100, and 1/5 of 120 in the 120 frames is 24 frames per second, and we are actually editing on a 24 frames per second timeline, so a lot of people say that gives the smoothest, most ideal look. I think it's a little too slow, at least for this scenario. It does look good. Here's 20%. It looks very nice, but I just don't like how slow it is in this specific sequence. So you play around with it and you decide what you want. And all of these clips here were shot in 120 frames per second, getting that smooth cinematic look. Now, one thing I will tell you is, if you shoot a clip in 24 frames, do not, I repeat, do not try to slow that down. There are not enough frames to slow it down and have it look good. It will not look cinematic, it will look choppy. Let's take a look at a clip that I shot, actually my friend shot, of me skating at 24 frames per second. So let's look at the properties of this clip. Sorry guys. Oops. Okay, properties. All right, so we shot this one at 24 frames per second. We have it playing at normal speed. Normal speed, okay. All right, let's slow it down. I'm gonna just do this. Oops. I'm gonna cut this clip a little bit so I can make room on the timeline. All right, let's try to slow this clip down. And let's do, I don't know, 60%. Let's see how it looks. See it? It's not smooth, it's choppy. There are not enough pictures in this clip filmed at 24 frames per second to get a smooth look. Choppy, okay? That looks a lot different than this clip, right? These clips right here. It's much smoother, all right? Because we have that many more pictures to work with, all right? And another one to show you, just a contrast. Here is my friend falling. This is also shot 120 frames per second. Note the difference between the clip of me that we slowed down. Look how smooth it is. Okay, so that is a key thing that you want to remember, is shooting in 120 frames per second, or if you have a camera that shoots at 60, 60 is definitely adequate. Shoot at 60, and then you can slow that footage down. So rule of thumb is the more frames you can shoot at, the higher frame rate you can shoot at, the more you can slow it down. Like, look, you have to shoot in a higher frame rate. That's about it for this one, guys. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you have any comments, suggestions, ideas for other videos that you want me to cover related to filmmaking or photography, please drop those down below in the comments. If you hit the like button, that would mean so much to me. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, smash it! I'm just kidding, but seriously, subscribe to my channel. I'm on that YouTube grind. I'm dropping videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which include tutorial, tip videos, behind the scenes photography, filmmaking, and then also some travel related vlog stuff. So please stay tuned, a lot of content coming your way. And as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.